Instagram. But then I met you, things started to change. Maybe I don't need my last name. Now I'm back in the kitchen, baking his favorite blueberry pie. Back in the kitchen, thinking one day maybe I'll be his wife. And I never wanted the white picket fence, but baby, with you it makes sense. I'm back in the kitchen. Sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down, but I always want you around. I used to have my own dreams and things that I wanted, but ever since I met you, my life's been haunted. Okay, wait. Now I'm back in the kitchen, baking his favorite blueberry pie. I'm back in the kitchen, thinking one day maybe I'll be his wife. Now I never wanted the white picket fence, baby, with you it makes sense. I'm back in the kitchen. Okay, you guys are gonna call me so gay when I tell you what I wrote this about. Taylor Swift getting engaged. That was kind of the thought. You know, because I was thinking, like, you know, this woman, I called they would get engaged. I said this. I said, Taylor Swift, I don't care. I know you guys don't care, you're guys, but I actually think that relationship's going to work out because he's like the ultimate Chad she's ever been with. Who is he competing with? Who is he competing with? Harry Styles? He doesn't give a shit about Harry Styles. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents. Plus, he gets $1 billion. Oh my gosh. I need to turn this off. So, now I want you guys to put a word in the chat before I start roasting Brett Cooper. Brett, I do like you here. I still am a fan. But when you start saying that red pill men hate women, I take it personal. And because I know these guys and I know they don't hate women. So when you have a retarded take, I don't think I could say that on YouTube. A dumb take, I gotta go in. They're saying my audio is low. Do I need to take it higher?
It's cranked up to the max.
Oh, really?
Can you get closer to the mic, maybe?
I can try. But if you guys put a word in the chat before I get started, I will make a song about it. I'll make a song about it on the fly. Okay, well, this is the best audio we have. It's like, why don't you guys do audio? It's like, if Doug MPA says it's fine, that means you guys are just whining. Whining. This is the best we got. All right, it's like always a complaint. I'm giving you guys a free music. I can write you a song on the fly, and now the audio's not perfect. It's like the audacity. Do you know what I mean? All right, give me a word. Give me a word. We're gonna go. I'm waiting. No word. If not, I'll just move on.
Make fun of the people complaining.
What?
Make fun of the people complaining.
I did. Because do you know how hard audio is? That's like the hardest part. This is why I pay someone to do it, because I hate audio. And it's not going to be perfect every single time, but you guys, do you know what? You guys were pissing me off yesterday because I was muting that woman. That woman compared you guys to Hitler, and you guys said I didn't treat her right. Really? I saw you in the chat. I wanted to be like, do you know what that's like? It's like I stand up for you guys, and she compares you to Hitler, and you're like, maybe you should treat the woman with kid gloves that compared us as men to Hitler. It's the audacity. All right, what are we gonna, Clinton Cash? Are we gonna give me a word? Let me see. Why Women Deserve Less song? Oh, okay. All right, we could do that. Oh wait, what am I doing? You gotta forgive my piano. I'm a better lyricist than pianist, but I'm taking lessons. It's gonna get better. Hold on. All right. Oh, women. Okay, that's gonna get me banned from YouTube if I say that. All right. Women tried to be CEOs and failed. Women tried to do women's sports and missed layups. We keep trying to do more and we keep doing less. Do I gotta say the rest? Oh, we say that we run the world, but we don't. We say that we deserve Chad and Tyrone, but we don't. But we don't. Okay, this is not flowing the way I'm hoping to. Here, let me see. Let me see if I can do a different one. All the things we can't do. We can't. We can't. Why women deserve less. We tried to fight the patriarchy, you know. We tried to make a wife out of a hoe. We tried to do our best and we failed. Now the men are like that ship has sailed. Bitch, you are a hoe. You know how it goes. You can make a wife out of a hoe. You used to get the world. You used to get the world. Now you're not that kind of girl. Okay, well, what did men used to do? This is how I would compare it. I would do, we used to take you out to dinner, but now you're too much of a sinner. I can't treat you like a queen with the shit you used to do. I don't know. All right, I could do this better a different day. But you guys see where I'm going. Like the way I would write that, if you're gonna see we deserve less, I would do compare and contrast. So I would do what men used to do, like we used to open the door, but now you're too much of a whore. We used to open the door, we used to open the door. Now you're too much of a whore. Now you're too much of a bore. And I'm keeping score. And then I would do another one. So open the door. We used to protect and provide. But glide, side. But now you're outside. You know, and it would just be like, you used to cover your ankles. Now you're too much of a hoe. I mean, that's the compare. Some days the freestyles flow to me and it's just not. We used to change the oil. Now your vagina's soiled. Like, we used to walk in the rain. Now you're running a train. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Okay, I'm going to go do my show. I'm going to go roast Brett Cooper, okay? All right. All right. What up, guys? Welcome to an episode of Pearl Daily. If you don't like the audio, you can F off. The door is right there. All right, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in yesterday. Today's an earlier show because I have some plans. You know, I got some stuff to do tonight. But tomorrow, I'm actually going to do an in-depth analysis of the debate yesterday. Now, I'll touch on it a little bit. So yesterday, I had on this liberal woman. And I did face some criticism, even from my own audience. They said, Pearl, you were too mean to her. Because what happened was, I don't like it. I always go into a conversation in good faith. Now, good faith, what does that mean? I think women, we have lost the idea of what that means. If I have a conversation with you, I'm not going to assume you're lying. I'm not going to assume the worst about you. I'm going to go into in good faith and not question every little thing you say. And when you come in with an attitude, you know, when you come in with an attitude, I'm sorry, but now I don't negotiate with terrorists. I don't. I mean, that's just because you guys want to do that, and no offense, guys, but I know there's at least one of you that negotiated or negotiates with the terrorist wife. I know. And that's kind of what it devolved to. I mean, again, as I said earlier, you guys were mad because I muted a girl that called you guys Hitler. Well, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Sorry, fellas. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, when you're asking me as an adult to define every single word, just like, if you can't have a conversation, we just gotta go. We're gonna, sorry, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Brett Cooper today. Now, as I've said, conservative women like to signal that they're different or special. And the problem is they're exactly the same. They will always revert to feminist talking points because at the end of the day, and you gotta ask yourself this, Brett Cooper, when her back was against the wall and she got fired from the Daily Wire, did she option A? She could have option A, said, okay, we're going our separate ways. Did she, option B, do a full crash out? Or option B is going online and talking bad about her employer? Didn't do that. But I would say what she did was actually worse. I would say it was worse in the simp audience, not you guys. You guys are red-pilled here, but they didn't pick up on it, is that she played the victim and the hero at the same time while pretending, made a whole media storm out of it, played the victim, played innocent, while she's making millions of dollars talking for a living. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, this company gave her everything. Do you know how expensive it is to make a movie for her? Do you know how expensive the lack of gratitude with women? I just can't. I can't. And I really was disappointed in her with that situation. You know, as someone, I've enjoyed her content in the past. I like her takes on some stuff, but it's just very obvious that, you know, because all these girls, what happens is they're always magically feminist in college. And then right when they get famous, they're magically, like, do you know what it's like? Like, she said she was pro-choice in college, right? And I'm thinking, so magically when you get famous and rich off of being conservative, and Candace Owens, it was the same thing. I found out she sued, I had no idea. I guess she sued her high school, and this is alleged. I know I'm butchering this story, but I know it was something with her suing her high school for like a hate crime or something. And the way she told the story, Candace, I thought she wasn't involved, but she got like $100K from doing it. And I'd have to look it up again. But you guys get, my point is this, it's always magically after they're rich and famous. So now Brett Cooper is going after red pill men. She's saying that people don't want to date women, why women don't want to date red pill men. And I'm going to show you how even quote unquote conservative women will always revert back to feminism. Always, always, always. Because when their back is against a wall, they always have got to pick the victim card. So remember at the Daily Wire, she felt like her back was up against the wall. She sent all of her followers after her friend. Let's just call a spade here. Candace Owens did the. You would think, you know what's so funny? You would think the Daily Wire would learn and stop hiring women, but they doubled down. They hired 2 women. I'm like, have you guys learned nothing? So what'll always happen is they'll say, "Oh, I'm traditional," and they'll use their families to build their brand, and still nag and shame men. And we got to remember. Can I do the whiteboard? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do the whiteboard first. Just. Just to remind you guys, now, if you're a true conservative woman, not me, but I'm just saying, like, if you truly are what you say you are, I would never think, I can aspire to live, to do the best I can, but I by no means am under the illusion that I am traditional, right? But this would be the natural order of the world if you fall under this viewpoint, right? God, man, women, children. So if you believe in this natural order, you believe you are below men. All men. Yep. And that's always what women miss. They always want to make it subjective, right? They want it to be, well, I can't submit to all men. And I'm like, I mean, you kind of are supposed to some extent. Like, there's a baseline natural respect you're supposed to, and authority you're actually supposed to give men just because they're men. They don't like that one. They don't like, and I maybe I'm not the one to be saying this, I can be a bitch, right? So maybe I'm not the one to say this, but you'll notice the tone that conservative women use towards men is as if they are here. Like, what authority do you have as a woman to say that these men hate women? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, what authority as a woman, like, imagine if you think you're below men, then you're not nagging them, you're not telling them what to do. You're taking orders in general. Obviously, you're not going to do that with, like, the homeless guy on the street. I understand. We can use extreme examples, but I would say, most men that are participating in normal society and not, being criminals or whatever, you're supposed to, a baseline respect is supposed to be given if you believe in that worldview. It's kind of like when you get that Southern belle and she just goes up to the men and it's very sweet and charming and she's like, "Yes, sir. Can I help you, sir?" Because she's issuing that respect. "Oh, can I get you something? Can I do this?" She doesn't say, "Well, you hate women." Or she doesn't say, it's like when women say what men should do. Like, imagine, these are your 2 choices as a man. Now, mind you probably have 0 of these choices, but like just in this fantasy world. Option 1 is woman who says, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Well, and you see Brett Cooper, she always goes back to, and this is all women pretty much, unless they're like, I don't know, I think I've maybe met one woman ever, maybe, that has this attitude, and she had to be humbled by life. Usually the way women get this attitude is humbling. Usually our life delivers us an L, because when we're young, we're treated as if we're here. So Brett always goes back to the egalitarian model, which is as if she has the right as a woman. And if anything, even the above model, which is as if she has the right as a woman to tell men anything. Okay, I think that's all I got right now for this. But I want to keep can I keep this up? Because I want to go back to showing this is how it's supposed to be. This is what the ideal is supposed to be, all right? I can just set this there. Okay, so, damn. All right, Brett. Now remember, if you're going to complain about my tone, just remember this is a man's world, and while I am not a man, if you enter a man's world, you get treated like a man. I don't complain. Yeah, you can, this just is what it is. All right, let's go
has shamed a whole generation of young men into thinking that they are inherently monsters or predators or less than. It has turned them inward. It has made so many men insecure and feel like they don't actually have a place in our culture and our society, when in reality, you men are so important. I say this all the time. You are the backbone of civilization. You are the backbone of families. We literally cannot exist without you. And yet that has not been the message that you have been receiving from pundits, from Hollywood.
But I'm going to show you, Brett, they don't even receive it from you. Now you could say, oh, we need men. But when you speak to men as if you're above them, it goes back to the egalitarian model and not that model there.
Girls on college campuses, whatever it may be, from podcasters, that is not what you have been hearing. And interestingly, a recent British study revealed that nearly 50% of young men reported feeling that being a man is not a source of pride for them, which is just insane. That is the core part of your being. That should be something that you love about yourself, that is so integral to who you are, that you should be proud of. And the fact that 50% of young men say that that's not even a thing anymore. And this is what some of the participants had to say. Quote, "There are a lot of negative stories about how men have treated women, which makes people assume that all men are the same, which isn't the case," commented one 20-year-old. Another young man said, "There is a feeling that men are responsible for patriarchy and you feel a sense of guilt. Although things were this way before I was born and in spite of personal effort for equality, these men are trying. They have heard, they've tried to respond, and yet they still are made to feel so guilty and so out of place." Another one said, "Social media is damaging to men's mental health as a society. We have an expectation of what a man should be. This puts pressure on men to live up to this expectation." So in trying to connect with current events...
Remember, what these women do is, women in conservative media have a tendency to marry for money. They do not marry for love. And I could say this, I don't even mean this in a mean way, but when your average conservative female commentator marries into $4 million, and there aren't that many men on average that make $4 million a year, please forgive me if I think you're in it for money. I mean, I think as a normal person, Brett Cooper said that her husband made more money than her. Well, if I look up Brett Cooper's yearly earnings, that means her husband's making over $1 million a year. So again, what they do, and I'm not saying this to hate on her, if anything, I actually, she's one of the few that I predict to stay married. I do. I think her husband's 3 points higher than her in terms of status, looks, etc. I think she'll stay married. Just like I think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will stay married. Sorry, shoot me. I think they will. But maybe it's just the girl in me. I can't stop it. But so this is not meant to be an insult. This is not an attack. This is just a statement. Women go into conservative media, they tend to marry for money, just like women that interview your UFC fighters. What do you think they're what do you think is the goal there? Women that go into finance, who do you think they're at? Women that go into conservative media go into it for usually white conservative donors, politicians, other commentators. Anyways, so when it comes to Brett, what they do is they signal, oh, we don't need money. All these women have these high expectations, but if you look at who they're dating, it's the same stats as, they say, oh, these women, they say the men have to do so much, but if you look at who the women marry, it's usually 6 foot, 6 figures, very good looking men. I'm happy for them. They played the game and they won. But my point is we can't watch what we say. We got to watch what we do, you know.
It's like, yeah.
Until she figures out how to divorce. I don't think she'll divorce. She makes too much money off of being married. I mean, she would lose everything if she got divorced. I mean, I guess Megyn Kelly did make it through a divorce, but she didn't have a kid with the guy. I mean, I kind of think that nowadays marriage doesn't mean much, but a kid kind of does. Like, a kid is really, I mean, because people will be married for 10 years, no kid. If they divorce, there's no attachment. Once you have a kid with someone, so she's pregnant, you know. I am impressed. She's letting out a baby faster than the other TradCon women. But the problem is, again, we go back to, again, they'll signal traditional or they want traditional values. But when it comes to giving up power, women just will never do it, right? I'm not saying that they should do it. Right? I'm not even saying that I would recommend she does it. But what I'm saying is it's not what they're selling. Right? That's kind of how it goes. Hey, thank you, Brett. I really do appreciate you covering this today because I didn't know what to react to. And when women have a tendency, not all women, but when you guys give dumb takes, it gives me something to do. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No wonder young men moved to the right. No wonder in 2024, young men came out in droves for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who, you know, they might not be.
Yeah, I know. They say they care about God, but you never see the women marrying like these very like recluse, deeply religious men. It's always rich men. You know what I mean? Like, so again, they'll like wear the crosses. They might wear the modest clothes and say, I love God. And this is what I'm saying. Modesty, I was having this conversation the other day. Modesty only counts if you're hot enough where being immodest gets you something. Because I'll give you an example. So Brett, she's cute, right? But I would say for her age group, facially 5'4". For her age group, because she's young, she's overall a 6. That's what I would put her. So if she competed in the being naked division, she would get blown out of the water. She would get nothing out of that. You know, if she was being naked next to like swimsuit model, she couldn't compete in that market. So obviously the mids are going to go to conservative media because I mean, we can't make money being, so it's kind of like modesty by convenience. You never see women in here that look like, I don't know, Megan Fox. You know, you don't really get them. Oh, I can be judging her with that. I would actually put her face above my face. If I'm really being honest, I really would give her a better rating than me. I really would. But again, that's like battle of the mids. It's like, you know, I would give her a point higher than facially than me. She's younger. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I would give her an overall better rating. But I can't judge because I have eyes. And I used to do casting. This isn't to be mean, but remember, I have to judge. When I did the thumbnails back in the day, I would pick the women who I knew would get the most views. And Brett would be cute, I would say, in the general population. But again, it's because she's young for her age group. I wouldn't put her above a 6. I really wouldn't. Yeah, and it's not to be mean. Being a 5 is normal. Most people are 5s. People think I'm insulting you when I say this, but 4 to 6, that's most people. Actually, maybe a little less because Americans are fat. But it's kind of the men like you in the chat, you're the problem. Because why are you white knighting for this girl that's never gonna fuck you, ever? Ever. Like, would it make you happy if I rated her higher? She's never gonna sleep with you. Ever. Pearl has great facial structure. I have okay facial structure. I mean, that's my point. Most people have okay facial structure. She's not a 5. Look, so now a lot of the argument I get back for this kind of thing. Oh, but American women are fat. Pearl, they're so fat that you have to rate them higher. No, I don't. just because the basketball league has gotten worse, it doesn't mean you're the greatest of all time. Just because the league sucks, which it kind of sucks now, it doesn't mean you're beautiful. It just means the league got worse. Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, facially, I think she's got a good body. I think her body's like a 6 or a 7. Facially, I'd say 4. When I've seen her without makeup, for her age group, because she's young, 5.56. But that's because she's young. If you compare the women in her age group, yeah, I mean, look, that's me being honest here. It's not really an insult. But if I had to put her against the women in her age group, I mean, that's competitive, right? Okay, I wouldn't say a 3. Yeah, but overall 6, 5, facially. Anyways.
Perfect men, but they are men who seem to be proud of being men. They are manlier men who have families and seem like the heads of their households. Young men can look up to them and maybe even see themselves.
Pearl is perfection. Like, I'm not going to sleep with you either. You guys need to stop. Sorry. We need to stop. We can't be simping in the chat. I need you guys to take that energy and send it to women. Look I've given you directions on how to hit up the women in your town. If you like my look, if you're into tall redheads, Google the volleyball rosters in the small schools near me or near you and DM them on Instagram. Look, there's going to be a Pearl lookalike on every single one. That's where you get tall girls. Google the rosters in the colleges around you. The smaller schools will be less competitive. Look, that's where you should be putting your energy. Come here because this is an entertaining show, you know what I mean? But I'm just being honest here, you know. We're not pro-simping.
In those two men. It's the reason why UFC has
Yeah, and they'll be younger, they'll have a better attitude, they'll talk back, they'll just be better in every way. Go there, you got it.
Blown up. It's the reason why the male podcasting space is dominating right now, because they are speaking to multiple generations.
Okay, so now she's saying the male podcasting space is dominating. Brett, and it's just such a dumb... you took someone's job at the Daily Wire that would have been a guy. I mean, and now at your old company, they're giving all those spots to women. Women are dominating in media. It's not even close. Think about it. You're called the female Ben Shapiro. And this is kind of the black pill for women. There's a point in life where we realize all of our success is not because we're talented, but because we're women. Because that's why we're there. You know, this was a tough pill for me to swallow too. But I just, I do the best I can with the following I got. But we have to be honest on some level. Being a woman, I've managed both male and female YouTube channels. Ben Shapiro, to be a conservative commentator, had to be a literal lawyer for men to listen to him. He had to go do thousands of debates. He had to do all this stuff. Brett just had to be a woman. That's it. There's no credentials, just cute girl. Say conservative talking points she did believe 5 minutes ago. Yeah, and it's just, it's not to be mean, but this is factual. This is what it is. This is just a fact. So, if we're going to go into a man's world, we got to be prepared to deal with, what men deal with.
Who've been ignored for years right now. Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha that is coming up. That is why the male podcasting space is dominating. We'll dive back in, but first...
Okay, you said Brett barely makes a 5. No, she's young. She's under 25. She's above a 5. Pretty much all women under 18 to 25, they're 6s. Overall, if you include the youth, they might not be a 6 for their age group, but in the dating market, yeah. Oh yeah, they're 6s, maybe even 7s because they're young. But it'll fade because the facial symmetry just can't, yeah. Pearl, you got to understand that men do care about personality. Yeah, you guys do care about personality. But when a woman's fat, you care a lot less. I'll say that. Yeah, you care when they're over your attraction floor. I have seen some women that are like fives, barely over a guy's attraction floor, be so nice that they move up a little bit. But that took years of like loyalty, dedication, and humility. Yeah, crazy.
A quick word from our sponsor. Now, unless you're new here, you know that we have talked a lot about government and media.
Yeah.
Like, no, those are not the role models that these young men are craving after decades of being told that they are less than, that they a lot of this just so happens to be on the right because, I mean, who are they going to look up to on the left? Like Tim Walz with his jazz hands? Pete Buttigieg on his like little bicycle with his husband? No, like, no, those are not the role models that these young men are craving after decades of being told that they are less than, that they should be ashamed and feel guilty for their natural feelings, their natural inclinations as biological men. And unfortunately, when a whole society, when a whole political party turns against and villainizes one sex, you are not just going to move to healthy role models.
I think it's more insulting when you guys say you like me for my personality. I think that's almost more insulting. Sorry, it's just like, could you go back to the sipping? Could you go back? Go back to that! I know. We don't know, no woman or man wants to be wanted for our person. Can we just be honest here? We want to be wanted because we're hot, okay? But few people get to experience that in life. That's the problem with the mids, which is most people. Most people, yeah.
Find some common middle ground. It's not going to work like that. You are going to see the consequences of young men who fell through the cracks, who were left behind, who were villainized to no end, who were made to feel guilty. They are going to have to go somewhere, and often they're going to lash out, which leads us to the creation of the red pill man.
Now, she's an idiot, okay? She doesn't even know what the red pill is. She doesn't. Now, essentially, I'll give you the red pill lore. Now, the red pill is used in a lot of different ways, so it makes it really confusing what it is. But a lot of times, people want to categorize and group everybody in the red pill in order to demonize them. When people are in a group, that makes it easier to do what she's going to do now, which is interesting because she's, supposed to be a right-wing woman or whatever. But she's about to do reputation destruction for what men want. Now, the red pill is not moral. It's amoral. Now, what does that mean? What happened was men on the internet, there used to be these forums, and they would come together to solve their problems. Now, sometimes their problem was, I want to have 3 girlfriends. How do I keep them away from each other? Guy A would say, do this. Guy B would say, do this. Guy C would say, do this. And they would come up with a plan, a solution. Because men, when they don't have a plan, that's when they go crazy. You know what I mean? That's when men go, they need some sort of action plan because they're men. Women, we like to complain about problems. Men need a plan. That's really the difference. When women get together, like if you go on TikTok, it's women complaining about problems. When men get together, they're trying to figure out solutions. Now, sometimes what they were doing was, perfectly under a Judeo-Christian worldview. It was, I love my wife. I don't want a divorce. She hasn't slept with me in a year. How do I get her to sleep with me again? I want her to want to. I don't want to make her. I want her to want to. I want her to desire me like she used to. Guy A would say, try this. Guy B would say, try this. Guy C, and a lot of times people don't know, and red pill has saved so many marriages. And it gets demonized because they have taken down, all of these blogs would give men so much power. It's why I recommend places like Ryan Stone, even Rollo hates me, but his book is really good. Because they give men the correct information, and women like her, they try to stop men from getting the information, because most women like her, and women in general, most women don't get to lock down alphas. They don't. Most women are stuck dealing with men that do not understand female nature. Alphas are the men that women can be ourselves with. Stupid whores. We can be who we are, right? Betas are the guys that, you know, they're the guys that women cannot be themselves with. But if the betas understand the female mating strategy, women cannot have them knowing it. So they have to get them away from the information. So essentially, shout out to the truckers working at the glory hole. Ew, okay, I'm not reading that, Chris. Sean Connery is the answer. It's what they desire. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a dark side of female nature. We saw it in 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, women, we love to be just slutted out. I mean, it just is. It just is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But women have to put up a facade in order to get resources, because do you think men want to like lay down their lives for these whores? No. No. And so like women like her don't want the men to realize, oh, she went to a big school, ran through. Oh, she did this, ran through. She was at a sorority, ran through. Like so they're just going to say, oh, they're going to default to shaming tactics like, oh, you hate women. And you're going to see this here. She has to categorize the red pill as they hate women, or she will not get her simp bucks. She will not make money off of simps. Yeah, I'll continue.
It's a hot topic in 2025. Whenever anybody...
But you'll see. Right now she's saying the red pill men hate women. But bitch, you don't even know what the red pill is. You don't know anything. You don't. So... Okay, we'll continue.
Brings up the red pill bros. If you talk about them, if you tweet at them, I feel like they're going to end up in this comment section. They're going to like pop out to like,
I'm here.
like talk about their values, whatever. But the red pill man is playing his own role in this very, very complicated and convoluted dating land.
Yeah, and she doesn't realize, again, the red pill has saved marriages. It has saved thousands of marriages. Okay. I mean, these blogs were really helpful, but if you go to Red Pill Archive, a lot of them are still up. But Ryan Stone, keeps a lot of them on his channel. So, yeah. She doesn't even know what it is.
And these men, in my opinion, view modern feminism as a societal evil whose express goal is to...
They don't. And that's the thing. The red pill is actually... If you really read the guys that are more in depth and not like Andrew Tate, not even Myron's great, but not even Myron. It's actually a lot more loving towards women than you think. Feminism is a strategy for women to get to bang hot guys. That's really what it is at its core. Because if you listen to what the feminists are saying, they want to make a bunch of money so they don't have to have sex with a guy they're not attracted to, because when women do not have sex out of desire but out of obligation to women, they feel like they were raped. Now, I don't think that's right. I don't think they should be but I'm saying that's the female feeling, right? And a lot of people, when they hear, red pill, like they never talk about that that section of the red pill, right? They never bring that stuff up. So because it's not meant to say women's feelings are bad, wrong, immoral, even though they may be. It is meant to explain them. And it's very difficult for people to have that conversation and not get emotional. Like, I bet there's even people in the chat saying, well, they shouldn't have that feeling. I don't know if they are. I'm not seeing it. But that's my point.
Men, they believe that women hold unfair power in today's culture, which is definitely true in our modern culture, and I agree with them on feminism. I agree.
Yeah, right. But she will never give up the power she has. And I think Ryan Stone had an analogy where he said, asking women to give up their jobs, their career, all this stuff is like asking men to give up their biceps. Women are never going to do it. Give up abortion. And it's not even that all women will have abortions, a lot do. It's women want to be in control of who's born. Women will never give up power, ever. And when women, our back is against the wall and our reputation is on the line, we will always default to the resources feminism gives us. Whether it's false accusations, whether it's reputation destruction, all women are women and all women can do it. Maybe there's like one good woman out there, but probably not.
Modern feminism has gone too far. It's shifted from being about equality and uplifting women to actually dominating men. Like, they vocalize that. They do not hide that.
Again, that's not true. The early suffragettes were like doing bombings, Brett. It was never about empowering women. I mean, the anti-suffrage, there's more women in the anti-suffragette movement in the beginning than the suffragette movement. And they viewed them as spinsters. It was really never about uplifting women.
Is something that they are proud of, they speak about. So these men are not wrong when it comes to any of those things, but they don't just stop with fighting that. They don't just stop by saying, hey.
Now, remember, we're going to go back to, does this sound like a woman that has, over there, that believes this is the order and has respect for average men? Because now they have an ideology she doesn't like, and she thinks it's her place to tell them what to do, how to live, or how to think.
This is wrong, we disagree with that. Instead, they in turn idolize
See, again, she doesn't like when men are actually masculine. Men do not, for a man to be masculine, it includes not checking in with women for what they want to do. So now she's going to nag and say, oh, I don't like your tone, because even conservative women cannot take true masculinity. They can't. Because it's true femininity is giving up control, right? It's, you know, when you're married or dating someone and he says he's going to do what he's going to do. I have no control. It's not nagging. It's not influencing. And it's tough. I'll be honest. Pretty much all women struggle with submission to some extent. It's something women in general, most of us weren't raised to be. It's something we have to work on. But my point is, it doesn't matter where you get the women. Usually we're going to go back to the default programming.
Hyper-dominant, quote-unquote, alpha traits. They have a perverted view of masculinity and femininity and a woman's role in society. They also very often lump women together and see us all as being inherently manipulative, interested only in exploiting men for their...
She married into like $2 million. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Sorry. Even you, Brett. And there's some humility that comes with admitting that. You know, because right now she's trying to signal, oh, I'm not like that, really. Really, you're perfect? Come on.
Their resources and their money and their status. And possibly the thing that turns me off the most is that they often assert that their manhood is something that is defined by how many women they can exploit, how many women they can sleep.
Okay, so again, remember, if there's a hookup, conservative women view it, or they want to shame men for hooking up with women that want to hook up with the man, and they view it as the women being exploited. So again, she's still taking the accountability off of the women, and now it's the men's fault that you threw it back. Really, it's the men's fault. Really, truly.
Women they can impregnate, how far they can sow their seeds, and how many children they can have, how tight and ill-fitting their suits can be, how nice their cars are, like how many cigars they can smoke.
Do you know the audacity of someone saying this making millions of dollars a year? Like, again, part of, you know, the natural order is realizing it's not your place to nag men about the way they live. You know, for example, Justin Waller is one of the ones people think of. That's who I was assuming. she was saying the tight fitting suits. I don't know if that's who she was talking about, but it's what I was thinking. I mean, what you think it's your place to nag like another woman's husband about how he dresses, really? Truly? That's your place as a woman? No, I'm being serious.
A caricature of masculinity. It is bitter, and in my opinion,
Now, and remember, so whenever the masculinity serves the men, women don't like it. You're going to see this. Whenever the masculinity serves the women, then it's celebrated. So, when men have a family, that serves the women. That's a woman's mating strategy to get a family. That's celebrated by conservatives. Having a fast car, does that serve the men or the women? No, it serves the men. Now he's going to get this hot young punani, The materialistic stuff and banging a lot of chicks, does that serve the men or the women? That's the men. The masculinity that conservatives celebrate, they're almost worse than feminists because at least the feminists are honest about who they are. Where a lot of times the right-wing women, they manipulate men, but in a more manipulative way because it's just not up front.
It is incredibly performative. And while I know that I just spent 2 minutes basically complaining about them and saying what I think is wrong with their ideology, their core grievances, like the reason...
But you don't even know what it is. You don't. You don't know what it is. I like Brett well enough, but when she started making videos about how men should dress and what she finds attractive, I checked out. Daily Wire did her dirty, though. I really don't think they did. I really don't. I don't think they did Candace dirty either. Because I'm going to use Candace because she had a way bigger crash out. I'm not even a fan of the Daily Wire. I'm not. But, okay, if I am a white woman, right, and I stand for conservative values, and you take a paycheck from me for 10 years, and then now you want to switch up and talk about an issue you've never talked about that I disagree with. I mean, that's kind of part of life. Do you know what I mean? Like, why do women think they get free speech when they work for somebody else? I mean, there are bounds. I mean, that's just pragmatism. Now, you could say that the Daily Wire is marketing it wrong, like they shouldn't call themselves a free speech network. But I kind of agree. If Ben Shapiro is he's on Team Israel, why would I know how expensive it is to put on a show. Why would I put on a show that has something that I completely disagree with? And it's almost worse because these women know nothing about war. They know nothing about violence. And that's why I've always stayed out of the war conversation because I don't know shit. I can give you good analogies from interviewing 1,000 people. I learned a lot doing that. But war? So you had Candace Owens talking about BLM. You had Brett Cooper. They're just like, hey, look cute, ladies. And just do your little culture talk show. Candace, go off about BLM. Brett, go off about feminism. That's your job. That's your job description. And then the women came in and they started saying, no, I want a different job description. And they're like, hey, no. We hired you for this job description. And then the women, they had it all and they still complained. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know how many people would kill to be in your shoes? And then you're going to say you did dirty when you get to make millions of dollars talking for a living? How dare you? I have cousins in the military laying bricks. There's loggers out there. There's guys with very difficult, dangerous jobs, and even men that die for their jobs. So, excuse me if I don't have sympathy for us as podcasters. I just don't. So, I think it's a little disingenuous to take a paycheck from somebody for multiple years and then claim they were somehow oppressing you. Really? Sorry. I mean, then you should have did that first 6 months. And then they said, oh, Brett should have kept her old channel. And I said, that's bullshit too. They paid for, I know how expensive it is to build up a channel. Now, obviously, maybe they should have had a new one for Reagan because of the, the damage Brett did after, to be honest. But I followed that closely. I didn't like how she handled it at all. I thought it was really manipulative. I really thought it was. And a real just lack of gratitude from both of them. I didn't like it. Do you think anyone at the Daily Wire knows anything about war or violence? No, to be honest, no, I don't. However, I would say that just being a man, you'll notice that the men at the Daily Wire, they're not crashing out. I mean, Matt Walsh could probably do his own thing. Michael Knowles could probably also do his own thing. But you don't see them doing the same thing that Candace and Brett did. You don't. And I think some of them might have different opinions on that topic. But as men, they're going to weigh their options and kind of say, is this the hill I want to die on? And I think you could argue there are some hills that I will die on, but I have to be very knowledgeable in that topic. And I personally, I don't think Candace has done a great job. I think she's kind of made, I'd say the Groypers look a little kook. No offense, I like the Groypers. I love you guys. But I'm just being honest. I don't think Candace has helped you guys. I don't. I don't think she's been like a net good on that topic. It's kind of, I would say average people would view her as kind of like cuckoo now. But I do think when you followed that topic for a long period of time, you can become very knowledgeable on it. Like, Ryan Dawson came on my show, and I don't think he didn't strike me as like a fighter or anything. However, it seems like he's followed that topic for so long, he's very knowledgeable on it. But the problem is you get these commentators that they just kind of go with whatever's trending, and so they're not knowledgeable enough on these topics, at least to die on that hill. But what I just see from the women, it's just such a lack of gratitude. Like, I think we have no idea how spoiled we are. Right? So for you to complain about it, both of Candace and Brett's crash outs really rubbed me the wrong way. Because from my point of view, how dare you complain about anything? Yeah, you quit a job and they gave it to your friend. That's life. That's life. No men would crash out over that. They would say, good luck with the opportunity. And you have the audacity to go into a podcast where about how you were betrayed and then pretend to be the bigger person. Fuck you. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. That is just how I feel about it. So, and it's just, and what I hate about videos like this is they're just gaslighting. They're mischaracterized. I know a lot of these red pill guys, and they're very nice people. Most of them have genuine intentions, but a lot of them were fed the wrong information. And so what they're trying to do is give young men the correct information. That's what they're trying to do. They're not misogynistic. They don't hate women. They just want young men to have the information. Because it's like if you're trying to lose weight, let's say, and you put in all of this work, you put in years of work, and you find out you had the wrong diet plan, you're going to be pissed. Not because you did all that work, but because you just wish you had the right information. And that's the intention. Most of them are not moralistic. And it would be much easier for them to be like, oh, join a religion, like all these girls. And I find it more offensive because I grew up Catholic. Now, look, I am not the most religious person in the world. It's been a minute since I practiced. But I think because I grew up Catholic, there's still a part of me where I know people that deeply believe that religion. And when people converted yesterday, and then now you're going to use Catholicism to build your brand, you're putting it on your Instagram. I just think of some of the more religious people I grew up with, and I just think, how dare you? How dare you? You've been Catholic for 5 minutes. Why don't you, study the religion a little bit before using it to get clout Jesus points? It just rubs me the wrong way. It does. I'm just being honest here. That's what I think about it. What was the talk with that feminist? You could have stayed in her world and crushed it. The only difference between a 9-month-old baby and the day before it's born and the one that is born is a geographical location. I don't know. I just don't negotiate with terrorists, and I was tired. All right, I'll keep going.
Why the red pill bro was created in the first place. Like, their core grievances are often very legitimate. Like, liberal women and progressives, you created a space for the red pill man to thrive. You pushed men for years, for decades, so far into a corner that they had no choice but to turn to people like Andrew Tate to create these ideologies so that they could feel powerful, so that they could have somebody who would say, hey, it's pretty great to be a man.
No, it's because all the conservative guys are simps. They worship women. They're not and this is where I get so frustrated because, you know, a lot of these guys say they fear God, but how can you say you fear God if you fear women? Like, you fear being honest with women. You don't fear God. Sorry, but when you're bringing on like corn stars on your podcast that converted yesterday over men that have studied the religion for years, really? I mean, you care about money. You don't care about God. You don't. And I would say it deters people from the religion that actually do believe by doing that bullshit. To be honest, because the most genuine people I've met in my life, I would say the most, if I just looked at people's actions, the most like helpful people I've ever met, the kind that never lost their temper. I'm thinking of just like 3 or 4 people I grew up with. If I'm being honest, they weren't religious, and it was because of one of them told, I would ask him why they're not religious. One said it feels like a show. Second guy said he was tired of gay men telling him how to live. Third guy, you know, it's because they go to the church and they get nagged a lot of times by women. Or it's the guy at the front catering to women. I've never heard the majority of marriages are sexless. They don't have sex. That is the norm. They'll try to gaslight you with stats that say otherwise. Most women stop putting out after they get the kids. That's just the norm. I've never heard a sermon on women having sex with their husbands in my life ever. I have never heard a sermon on female gossiping. I went to church for I have heard sermons dedicated to male sin, you know, corn. I've heard that. But, and I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this topic because I hate when people use religion to manipulate people and nag. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. So, do you know what? Undead Chronic was going to come on. I forgot about him. I forgot about him. So, yeah. I'm a happy man with my beautiful cat. All right, let me continue.
And even if that version of a man is kind of performative and a caricature, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, but the result of all of that, what this has become, is a major turnoff for women. Even women who
this is hilarious.
Who might share your values or politically agree with you. Because like you didn't want to date a feminist woman who hated you for your manhood and just hated your basic identity and wanted to take advantage of you through sex, women also are not going to want to date men who are assholes and hate them for just being women. And I really think that a lot of these men online that we see just generally don't like women.
There she goes, the shaming language. They don't like women. Because this is what the women do. Men are used to being criticized. I mean, guys, put in the chat. How old were you the first time somebody criticized you, made fun of you, roasted you? I mean, men are used to it. So women, we want this easy internet money. You know what I mean? So we want this awesome job. I love this job. This is a great job. But we can't take what comes with it, which is criticism. That's why, Melania stays in the background, because when you're front and center, that comes with critiques. That comes with criticism. Not everybody's made for it. But what women, we have a tendency to want is we say, put me front and center. And the men say, okay, here you go. Here's your microphone. And then we get criticism. And then we say, well, you just hate women. No, honey. No, honey. That's called being in a man's world. You asked for it. You're here. You're here. You're doing this. The internet, it's not a nice place. You seen 4chan? Before all the women came on the internet, you go on 4chan, they used to require women, they would say tits or get the F out. You used to have to show your boobs to have an opinion. Maybe we should go back to that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, 5, 1, 2, everyone's saying it's super young. So they always come back and then they shame you and they say, oh, well, you just hate women. No, but when you're in the front and center, that's part of the job. I just got a super chat. That's part of the job. People criticize you. Your fans criticize you. Even. It is what it is. All right, $20 super chat. Oh, wait, I read that already.
And I read their posts, I'm like, have you ever been friends with a woman? Have you ever had any moment of enjoyment with a female, a person of the opposite sex? Because based on what you're saying, it seems like you just don't like us. And so it is no surprise.
And one of the biggest black pills for men is that they don't like women as much as they thought. It's a realization. It's a realization a lot of men have. Men don't really get a lot out of female friendship. They don't really get anything out of it, to be honest. So, I would say a lot of these opinion comes from being friends with women and getting screwed over by women. Half the time when men get screwed over by women, it's not even a woman that they're sleeping with. It's some woman in the friend group that hates them for whatever reason.
Me that this is a situation that is occurring more and more frequently in our modern dating culture. This is from the New York Post, a recent article from a couple months ago. According to 19-year-old Liza, who's dating someone in his 20s and sat down with the outlet, she said, I'd go on the odd date with someone my age, and more often than not, it would end up in a straight-up argument when he started saying that Andrew Tate makes good points. Her boyfriend now, this older guy, is, quote, super chill, a feminist, and weirdly, so are most of his mates.
Okay, so women, they like older guys that are feminist for two reasons. One, when men are younger, they tend to be more open with their opinions politically, but then they realize it doesn't get them laid, so they learn to lie better. So that's option one. Option two is that women, again, they don't want men to have red pill information because it's the sign of a power-hungry woman. So the more women react angrily to the red pill and get mad at it, it shows in their psychology, which this is most women, a lack of control. They're power hungry and they can't let it go. Andrew Tate does not make good points, though. Well, I agree with some of it. I don't agree with some. He's a person. I don't follow everything he tweets.
Missed all of the manosphere stuff, and it shows. So now, unfortunately, because of all this red pill bro stuff, women are being pushed even further into the opposite.
Someone said, damn, my woman ran off with my best friend. Damn, I miss him.
Direction, into the welcoming arms of these older, chill, feminist bros with their chill.
Oh yeah, Brett Cooper does owe an apology to Ben Hart. Yeah, where was that apology, Brett? Show me the humility. And Candace Owens, you owe one to Steven Crowder. I want an apology for Steven Crowder. That was as loud as your accusation of him being an abusive monster towards him. That was a shitty, fucked up thing to do. And I have been waiting patiently for 2 years now for you to apologize. Let's see the humility, Candace.
older feminist bro mates. But of course, because we need to be fair, the women in this scenario are also not blameless, literally at all. Like, they might have started this whole thing from the get-go. And in talking about this, my mind immediately goes to Alex Cooper and her podcast, Call Her Daddy. But before we keep going, I want to thank today's sponsor. Now, if you've followed me for the past few years, you know that there is a product that I have loved for a long time, and that would be my Bond Charge infrared sauna. She and her original co-host would often tell women that they needed to have a
I'm going to show you guys a female manipulation tactic. All right, so we're going to go. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to go back and erase it. Should have brought a paper towel over here or something. All right, so it's okay, I got it off next time. So what I call, in general, the hoe pipeline usually is step one, major university. Now, by the way, hoes can go to big schools and small schools. This does not mean a woman's not a hoe just because she went to a small school. But I'll say, the bigger the city, the bigger the college, the more of an ability a woman has to be a hoe. Hoes thrive in environments where they can be anonymous, unless she's a shameless hoe. Shameless hoes, they'll do it anywhere. They have no shame. And we love them for that. We love honest hoes here. So, major university. Now then you get major university. And generally sorority, it's a lot of hoeing. Easy majors, because look, it's not that women with hard majors can't be hoes, but it's just the more time they have to hoe. Do you know what I mean? Like, if she she was studying to be a doctor, she'd have a little less time. But don't worry, we always make time for what we want most in life, and some women it's hoeing. Then it's the hoe pipeline is major university. Oh, wait, sorry, major city. And then that's usually going to be dating apps. And obviously, the more time that goes by, the more time women have had to hoe. And so what will happen is, generally speaking, women will say, I'm not like that. But it's always based off of women's word, right? That men believe the women off of their word, which only simps do, you know. But what the women will do is say that you're like evil if you think maybe they hoed a little bit. I'm not saying you went all out. There's levels of hoeing. Maybe I'll do a hierarchy of hoeing. But then you go back to gaslighting. All right.
Men lining up waiting for them to date, that they should, quote unquote, have sex like a man, that they should toy and play games.
I'm a trad conservative woman. Now, men, let me talk to you and tell you what it means to be a man and why you're wrong. Yeah.
Games with men as a way of gaining power and confidence. Like, this is literally how they named their podcast, Call Her Daddy. Take a listen.
For people that don't know what Call Her Daddy means, the word daddy is what? It's like you're a boss, you're a badass, you're powerful, dominant.
In the bedroom specifically.
Yeah, and you are in control of your life and in control in the bedroom.
Yeah. So the entire premise, the entire idea behind this huge culture-changing podcast was the idea that women should dominate in life and dominate in the bedroom at the expense of men. That men, to them, were actually disposable, and this is something she has said.
This is how we solve all of your problems. He didn't text me back. You have a full roster, okay? You line them up. He ditches you, you grab the next, and the next, and the next.
So basically what she's saying there...
So now, where the rubber meets the road, if you ask conservative women, were you a virgin on your wedding day? Because, my question is, where is the guy you lost your virginity to? Where is he? In a way, you're doing the same thing. Maybe not to the extent of call her daddy. I think she had genital warts at like 22, so that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad in the hierarchy of hoeing. There's worse hoes and, less worse hoes. But you guys see what I'm saying here. It's now I'm just supposed to believe, and now I have to believe you did none of this based on your word. Really? I'm just being honest here.
Is her rationale for...
And look, I'm not saying she ran a train or some bullshit. I'm not saying she did that, but would I bet money? I would probably bet my life savings that at some point at a 4-year university, in a sorority, that you probably had at least one night stand. I think that's fair. But what they'll do is they'll say, well, not all women are like that, and gaslight. But the thing is, if you're not like that as a woman, you don't have to defend yourself. You really don't, because your actions will just speak. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to, but the more the women defend it, I almost think the more likely they did something. Because, then I would just see innocence in you. Do you know what I mean? I would just see it. Not surprising, a lot of time overpaid, privileged women will grow a feminist ego. Brett is going in the direction of Tommy Lauren and Lauren Southern. No, I don't. She won't hoe as bad as Lauren Southern. That was pretty bad. I don't think, anyways. Tommy Lauren, yeah, I see similarities there. But the thing is with TradCon women, usually what happens is she's going to go more of the Candace Owens route, where she gets to say whatever she wants and her husband gets to be her backup plan. It's a great way to go as a woman. I mean, you do whatever you want, someone else pays for it. Feminism 101,
having a roster of men and just dating around, because if one pisses you off, well, just go find another one. You need to have a bunch lined up.
I think Uncle Andrew abandoned us. He hasn't live streamed in a few days, and I need to give someone money. Here's $5 more. Who's Uncle Andrew? Like Andrew Wilson? Oh, okay.
That you can sleep with, that you can date, because if a man pisses...
Well, thank you. We love Andrew here.
...you off, don't deal with it, don't handle it, whatever, just move on and date somebody else, because you should not have to be...
that's what all of you did. That's what every TradCon woman did. They did not marry the average earning high school sweetheart or college sweetheart. Because here's the thing, we got to ask as a society, do we want men or women sleeping with men they're not attracted to? That's the question. You either think yes or no. And if you think yes, then, well, we are going to have the society we have today. If you think no, well, then we're going to have to use some force, because that is the only way women are going to do it. I'm being honest here. Brett can't, all women in general do use our hypergamy. So we always keep going and going until we can't go no mo.
Beholden to this awful man who was giving you the ick or doing something wrong, because they are just disposable. Like, her ideology was based on the fact that men are pigs, so women should be pigs back towards them. Like, we should get back at them. And now, years later, this podcast has been around for over 5-6 years now. Finally, now that she is older, maybe a bit more mature, she is married, she's talking about having kids, she is finally comfortable saying the quiet part out loud, that yes, in fact, she wanted to punish them. This is a recent clip from her interview on the Armchair Expert podcast. Take a listen.
Did you want to punish them?
Kind of.
Yeah.
All women are spiteful. Every single you should fear women, because we are very spiteful creatures. Any woman that pretends she's not spiteful at all, it's a virtue signal, okay? All women have that in us. It's something we have to watch, okay? It's a negative, the same way, you know, men love naked boobs, and they will, in the right situation, they'll bang whores, they will. Women will be spiteful in the right situation. What would you rate Brett in terms of look? I just did this earlier. Notice Brett gets married and becomes a nagging witch. Well, she's got to go back to her. Women always go back to their true colors after the ring. I don't think all of our stuff is bad, but these ones are. I said for her age, she's a 6 overall. For her age group, she's a 4. Yeah, I know. Overall 6, for her age group 4. The 6 is a balance because she used to be thin. I think she's pregnant now, so we'll see how thin she is after the baby. She better stay thin, though, because you do not have a strong enough face card you just be hot, you know.
I think because I have never had a hard time making female friends. That was like the thing that filled me up the most. I always felt so comfortable around women, being on soccer teams, filming with my best friends. Like I love it. Like I love female friendships. And then when I finally got to a point where I changed my hair and changed my skin and all of the things, when boys were drooling over me and I was just like, oh, I hate you.
I mean, at least she's honest. That is sort of a good thing, but everything that she's...
I know, that's the worst part. As a woman, I mean, you shouldn't hate him for it, but not all of the fake stuff works, but a decent amount of it does. I won't lie to you guys. I won't lie. I mean, men can't really tell plastic stuff as much as they think. They wish they could, but they notice the ones that go too far, but I'll do a more in-depth show on that a different day.
Saying everything that she has blabbered about for the last 6 years on her podcast, it is awful, it is unkind, and also it is self-harming behavior. It is not just unhealthy for men, it impacts them negatively. It's impacting the women negatively who choose to act.
Yeah, whenever men complain about their problems, women always have to make it about them. Always. Always. And they're like, the women are like, well, why don't you open up? And their men are like, yeah, I'm opening up. You guys are being fucking bitches to us, you stupid cunts. And then they're like, well, not like that. And then the men are like, well, you said. You know, it's, but this is, again, it's controlling behavior. And that's what, I swear, Bonnie Blue understands male psychology. Because Bonnie Blue has a more feminine presence than a lot of these conservative commentators. People hated me when I said that. But Bonnie Blue had people telling her she was a bad person to her face. But watch her in her interviews. She sits quietly. She listens. She doesn't defend herself. She just says, mm-hmm. And that presence, you can tell she's studied men. That's how whores win. You know, I know somebody who her husband left her for a stripper. She literally got left for a stripper. She was a more conservative, you know. And sometimes the conservative women lose is because in the dating market with women, I really see 2 categories the most. It's kind of the women that get it and the women that don't. The women that get it, they're usually straight whores, right? Because they've studied men, and in order to get it, they had to go on a million dates, throw the punani out. But then you got the other women that are just clueless about male psychology. Clueless. They don't understand that men don't want to talk to us all the time. They don't understand. They don't understand that men need a plan. They don't understand why they can't. Like, for example, they don't understand why they can't ask men why every step of the way when they're making a plan, and how that's undermining him in a way. When you ask him why we're doing every little thing. Stuff like that, you know, stuff that is tough to teach, but it's just, you know, social skills, you know, with men to some extent. And what I see is these women, if they lose to the whores, it's because the whores have studied men. Now, eventually the whores will let their true personalities out, which are crazy, fucking insane. You can't take that much dick and not go insane. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, at least the facade does pretty well. It's easy to tell when women are plastic. For the most part, they're either divorced or sluts and loud. You can't, even if you can't tell, you can tell. No, I'll go through. There's certain surgeries men can tell, and there's certain ones that I would say they can't. Like, okay, let me put, let me see. I'll show you guys this really quick. Don't show this screen. I got to make sure this woman is not naked. Not her. Okay, so can I, do I need to bring it over here? This one, okay. All right, so what work do you think she's had done in this picture? Oh, full screen, okay. So I don't think most men would notice that she's had lipo. I don't think most men would notice it. She got lipo at her stomach, so that's why her waist is so small. I don't think most men would notice. I don't. Things like that. I don't think most men notice nose jobs, I would say. Most men would not nose job before and after. Let's see. Yeah, like I don't think most men would see this girl on the street. Let me show this one. And think that she's had plastic surgery. It's so small. I don't know how to make it bigger. But let me see if this one will go bigger. Okay, this one's a little bigger. I don't think most men would see her on the right and automatically think she had a nose job. I just don't. I think men are kind of light Botox. I don't think men notice. Light lip filler. I don't even think they notice. The challenge is women, we have a tendency to never stop. So let's do a blepharoplasty. I think the blepharoplasties are kind of more noticeable, but like I don't think that men would see this girl on the right and think she's had a ton of work done. And just, you know, my opinion. Because men just don't notice small details as much as women do. Now, there's certain stuff that men do notice, but it's just not. Here, let me go back to this. My opinion.
Like this. But she and others like her, especially in Hollywood, they influenced an entire generation of women with these kinds of values. With these
Someone said it's hard because they go from mid to mid. I know. I don't think most plastic surgery brings women up that much, with the exception of women that have really bad honkers. I do think that can go up a point or two. I mean, if the nose is that, I've seen women with the honkers. I do think lipo, because, okay, I'll show you guys. Let me show you one more. I've done polls on plastic surgery where I poll men and I ask them if they think a woman's natural. Usually the results are not definitive enough for me to... I think this is too much nudity to do BBLs before and after. We'll just continue.
Ideas that we need to be terrible to men as a way of punishing them, that our empowerment comes from sleeping around and screwing with men and playing games with them because that is what they deserve.
Lily Phillips also had a labiaplasty apparently, so if you do want to look at her porn, you can tell me if you think it looks natural or not. I don't know. Women are getting vaginoplasties now.
is where this divide started. So taking all of that into consideration, the years of that, it is no wonder that now men are responding by basically doing the same thing to women.
Yeah, so this is a bad comparison. They'll say that feminists are, they will say that red pill is the same thing as feminism, but it's not. Remember, the red pill is 20 years of the forums and men coming together to solve their problems. It's kind of like an instruction manual. That's what it is. And sometimes the material is used in people's shows, but it's not a movement. It's not an ideology. It's not trying to accomplish political goals. It was just men coming together to solve their problems. You and Angel Reese, one-on-one, how bad does she lose? I don't think I would win that. I mean, she's in the WNBA. I did not make it that far. So I would guess she would win.
And were villainized by these women for just doing normal man things. Women blew their behaviors out of proportion, called them toxic and manipulative.
Okay, Doug MP, I appreciate you being a supporter of the channel, but I understand it's easy to like look at women's basketball and say those women suck. And we do compared to men, but she had to pass through a lot of tests that I did not pass, you know. I didn't even go D1 for basketball, you know what I mean? So I don't think I would win. I don't.
That the patriarchy was this awful thing, and now it seems like a whole group of scorned men, understandably scorned, who have been hurt and shamed for years, has had enough. And they're going, fine, we'll just become that, and we'll do all of these things to get back at you. So it is this endless, endless cycle, and I'm sorry to tell you guys, but two wrongs do not make a right. We are now basically in a washing machine of chaos and bad behavior and just being assholes to each other.
Yep.
But unfortunately,
yeah, Brett, honey, sweetie. Men do the behaviors that women reward. So again, this was not men saying, oh, how can we get back at women? You know, some of the men said, I want to find a wife. And they said, what's the best way to find a wife? And the men got together and they said, bang a bunch of women so you can tell the difference between the good ones and the bad ones. And then, you know, the ones that are less ran through, they'll stick around and they'll display better behaviors. And then boom, you have a wife. She'll stick around long enough. And that was what they came up with. It wasn't, you know, I want you to know, a lot of these guys, they wanted to do things the right way. They wanted to treat women right, but then women wouldn't respond. So it's like they're trying to start a car, but the key won't work. And so they say, okay, let me try this key over here. It's not like they want to do that, but it just is what it is.
Looking at our society and our culture and the trends and the attitudes, it makes sense. But again, that doesn't make it right. Neither of those behaviors from either of these groups, the toxic feminists that just want to sleep around, the red pill bros that hate women, neither of those behaviors
there's the shaming language again.
Or attitudes are right or moral or good or promote goodness. They are only contributing to a greater divide.
Okay, but who are you to decide who is promoting goodness? What thinks you have that authority? It's so out of order. And I'm so sick of conservative women doing this bullshit. Oh my God, I grew up around women like this. They beat you over the head with the Bible before they fix their own life and stop nagging their husbands. They never can do it. Oh my God. You can tell they nag their husbands. Because if they're nagging the general public and all these random people, you think they treat their husbands better? No. So it's what makes you think you have the authority to tell men what's right? You don't. Shut the fuck up, you know.
And distrust and a dislike of the opposite sex. That is the undercurrent that runs under all of this, is genuinely just disliking people of the opposite gender. And Billy Ray Brandt, who is a great video creator who actually used to make red pill content, she broke down this problem here. She was seeing it.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. You're gonna bring up Billy Ray. Oh my gosh. No, she didn't, Brett. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Firsthand, this was the community that she was in, and I think she put it well. Take a listen.
Let me tell you about my biggest issue with red pill influencers. I used to think they all wanted to defeat feminism.
Yeah, because women can't take it. They get in the kitchen, They can't take it, and then they blame the kitchen. It's like, bitch, why are you here? Why are you on the internet? If you're just gonna, they go back to the tone policing. Women always go into it, not all, but women have a tendency to go into industries, not be able to handle it, and then cry about everybody in it.
Now I'm just realizing that they use feminism as an excuse to encourage negativity and toxic behavior amongst men. They bitch about women being hoes, but encourage men to be more promiscuous and create more hoes. They nihilistically claim that modern women are completely irredeemable. And rather than encouraging men and women to go change their ways and right the wrongs, they just bitch and moan while collecting a
Yeah, okay, because again, women think that they can say the world should be a certain way and that it'll do something. Men are a little bit more realistic, so they say, okay, well, whores are on the menu. It's, Aaron Clary is a great analogy. It's like you go to a restaurant, and you're like, can I have a virgin? We're out. Less than 5 bodies? Huh? We're out. Could I have a good woman? Now, I'm not saying there are good women out there. There are. Or at least one's good enough, right? Let's women are still women, but there is like a good enough threshold. But statistically, Aaron Clary ran the numbers, and it's less than 5%. If he ran the numbers of women that don't have a lot of debt, that don't have more than like 5 tattoos, women that haven't done prostitution. He literally breaks this all down. I could find the numbers, but it's less than 5%. So, I mean, that's, if we're being realistic here, that's your odds. So women that rank men as important, I mean, I forgot how we did it. It was a while ago, but yeah.
They create. It's all bitching with no solution. And I've spoken highly of these guys in the past, and was certainly inspired by many of them.
The problem comes from the schmexual revolution, both sides but one is realizing the problem first. I mean, it's kind of nature correcting itself in a way. Most men didn't get to reproduce historically, so.
To join an important fight, but my patience and admiration is starting to disappear. Feminism is fundamentally evil, and I'm not going to concede to living a life where we allow it to exist.
Yeah, but we're all benefiting from feminism. So it's kind of like saying capitalism is evil and being a bajillionaire. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's the equivalent of us in a way saying feminism is evil. It's like, yeah, but we're all benefiting. I mean, women are, and I don't mean it in the way that society's benefiting. I would say it's not, but I mean, young women get to live the lives of superstars. Now, you might say it doesn't pay off later, and I would say that's true, but at least when we're young, I mean, women get to live lives that are actually insane. Yeah.
Exist with no opposition.
You have to be the change you want. Well, if you want to be the change, that's fine. But I like to be honest about the expectations here. If you want to be a good person, because I think a lot of people do things for reasons subconsciously. Like, for example, a woman with a big rack, if she's modest and she expects to get the same opportunity a woman that is immodest gets, she will be disappointed. The woman showing the tits is going to get way more opportunity at work, like everywhere, romantically, professionally. I don't make the rules. But it's kind of the same thing with men. Unfortunately, women do not reward men being moral. If anything, we don't reward it. So if you do it, and you do it with the expectation that there's probably going to be no reward in this from women, because we're kind of messed up creatures in general, not all, then at least you go in. But a lot of people are doing it because they're trying, they're expecting to get something out of it. Women can't be the change because they're the bill. You guys are hilarious.
I mean, she did not mince words. And
yeah, I know. And the idea is that God will reward you eternally, right? And I'm not disputing that. I don't know. I can't say. I always think it's interesting. Like, people are, look, I don't know. We'll see. But at least on this earth, I think it's run, even under a Christian worldview, it's run by the devil. So it kind of makes sense that the whores get rewarded and the players get a lot of punani. Like, that would kind of make sense.
Everything that she said about the Red Pill Bros, about this community of guys, these attitudes, you could also say that about feminism. You could say that about Alex Cooper. It's like you allegedly saw men that were dating around, that were playing games with you when you were in high school and college, and instead of trying to be better and encourage them to be better and just move away from those guys and try to date somebody who wouldn't treat you like a piece of crap, you decided to just be.
But do you see your language? It's never the women treating the men like a piece of crap. If women do something bad, it's always because the men drove them to do something bad. It's never maybe he treated you like crap. Like, maybe he ghosted you because he thought you were annoying or bitchy. I mean, that's generally how it goes. Or you weren't hot enough. You were shooting too high. I mean, if you want more commitment, date someone uglier. There you go.
What you hate, what you were attacking. Like, how does that actually make it better? How does that make society better or change things for your community, for yourself, for the next generation of men and women? It does nothing. Therefore, if we are going to fix things, we have to find a way forward that does not exclusively revolve around pointing fingers and doing things in a reactionary, bitter way. Everybody.
What's your plan, Brett? I'm expecting a plan. Nothing.
Like Billy was saying, needs to take accountability for themselves and their actions, and probably most important,
Brett, this whole conversation, women, there was no accountability for the women. It's like, oh my God.
Not be an asshole to the opposite sex. It really is that simple.
I mean, your whole conversation was just nagging men, Brett. I just listened to you nag for 30 minutes straight.
So now the final question and the most important question is, how do we fix this? Where do we go from here? Well, I have messages for both men and women here. Now,
Let's
women,
see. I'm sure these are going to be extraordinary. Let's see.
you need to know that men are not monsters. Not all men are bad. And if you respect yourself and you hold yourself to a higher standard, an amazing man will come your way. That is kind of.
So let me get this straight. The women have to hold themselves to a higher standard. And this is, whenever women say things that are vague, there's no like step by step. Like, what does that even mean? And this is conservative women, because again, they haven't studied men. So it's never about what women should do. Their version of holding themselves to a higher standard, it's like putting up with less bullshit and not having sex. Generally speaking, that's because they're both trying to get to the same goal, right? Which is locking down an alpha. The feminist women or the liberal-leaning women, they're just doing blowjob skills and whoring to get there. And the conservative women are selling purity. They're both trying to get there. But so usually on the right, like you listen to Call Her Daddy, she'll tell you how to suck Gluck 5000. On the right, they'll just say, don't have sex. It's never very detailed, specific. Where do you go? What do you do?
Works. If you put it out there, you will receive. So build up and encourage masculinity. Do not mock.
Okay, like encourage masculinity. Does she not see the irony in saying encourage masculinity as she just nagged for 20 minutes straight? Do you see what I'm saying? It's you can't encourage masculinity when you're telling men what to do. You can't. That's not part of it.
Learn to love and appreciate men for their.
We can't incentivize purity and punish immorality. Yeah, with what power? Unfortunately, I just don't see the society going any other way. I don't think women. There'll be a civil war, before women give up power. And you know who will fight it? These simp men. It's the same way white guys keep shooting. Like, they keep shooting the right wingers. It's like we just eat each other. It's
works and their silliness and their interesting senses of humor. Like, encourage the men in your life to be leaders and help hold them to.
Yeah, I mean, again, men leading has nothing to do with women. You can't encourage a leader to lead. He just leads, and you either follow or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, women still want to take credit for men leading. It's like so subtle in their language. It's so manipulative.
To a high standard. Now, for men, I also similarly need to say that
Oh my God. So let me get this straight. She just says, allow men to lead, and now she's about to tell men what to do. How do we not see the contradiction there?
women are not the enemy. Not every woman out
Lead men as long as you are leading using my advice.
there is scheming about how she's going to manipulate you and divorce you and take all of your money and screw you over. Like that is not every woman out there. I'm sure that there have been horrible stories of those women, but there are a lot of women who just want a good man.
This is women downplaying male suicide. This is a very serious topic. Men are 8 times more likely to commit suicide after a divorce. The more men that you encourage to get married, at the end of the day, there's blood on your hands, because there are men that will commit suicide using that advice. It's one thing if they know what they're getting themselves into, they understand it's a risk, but a lot of men have no idea how bad the laws are stacked against them. They don't. So for Brett, most women are not going into marriage thinking that they want to divorce scrape their husband. They're not going in thinking they want to ruin his life. But what happens is men have post-nut clarity. So when sometimes men think they like a woman and then they have sex with her and they start to notice she's annoying, or they start to notice all of these negative traits about her that they did not notice before they hit. Women, on the other hand, we have post-nut clarity, but unfortunately it happens after we get as many kids as we want and we get the guy to marry us. So a lot of time when women have that post-nut clarity and realize, oh no, I reproduced with someone I wasn't meant to reproduce with, women have to defend our reputation at all costs. Remember, we had to have a clean reputation in order to survive. It's our programming. So that's why women do the abuse claims, because you always want to give women an out if you can as a guy. Because if you just say, okay, I'm the villain, then she doesn't have to make you the villain. Does that make sense? But it's when you're actually a good guy and people know that you're a good guy, that's when she has to do reputation destruction in order to save her reputation. That's why she calls you a rapist or whatever. And so it's really easy when Brett's not the one taking the risk to say, oh, don't be silly. Not all women are out to get you. Well, yeah, I mean, some women are going to completely destroy your existence and ruin your life. But whatever, there's good women out there. Marry us anyway. It's not really taking men's concerns seriously. And it's really downplay. Like, it really irks me to my core when conservatives downplay how serious this is. This is serious. Maybe it's because they haven't seen what I've seen, but I mean, I've seen guys on the brink of suicide with nothing left. And it's like the saddest, it's some of the saddest interviews I've ever done. I mean, I would tear up interviewing some of these guys because they're just devastated. But it's not really, saying, oh, tee-hee, marry us anyway, isn't really voicing their concerns. But again, because conservative women, they want a non-traditional marriage. Why would you not as a person want a marriage? Well, of course, women are going to want all the power. Because remember, the marriage is only traditional as long as she says it's traditional. And so that's why they don't want to change the laws first. Because if you really want a patriarchal marriage, and, at some point, enough men will walk away from marriage and society will start crumbling enough where the lawmakers are going to have to start to cater to men. But you cannot be in a traditional marriage in this country because she is the enforcement arm. She has it. The only way you can be in a traditional marriage is if you have the enforcement arm, but you don't. You can't stop her from getting a credit card and taking out a bunch of debt in your marital name. You can't stop her from ruining your reputation. There's no enforcement. You can't even slap a woman in your own home. It's like they've taken away everything. I escaped the nagging. My motorcycle brings me more joy than all but my first relationship. But the first one was when I was 17, over 35 years ago, when I wish Pearl lived in New Orleans. Yeah, I am not living in that state.
They are good women and they're out there trying to meet you. So get up the courage to go ask a girl out for coffee. Have the confidence to know that if she says no, it might not have anything to do with you. And like Jordan Peterson says, if you want a princess, be a prince. That means that you have.
Oh my God, Brett, just please stick to politics. Please, God, please stay out of here. I can't. Oh my God, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, a prince. Again, that's acting, that's in a way implying that men need to be prince level in order to get the overweight fives that America is offering. Yeah.
Have to work on yourself. It means you have to be bold and confident and be a leader and be somebody that she would.
She does not see how ironic this is.
Want to be with, that she would be attracted to. And I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but for a lot of women, that is not being a bitter, angry red pill bro. And on that subject of red pill attitudes, I don't just want to shame this and not give a solution. So I want to
cringe. Thank you.
Offer some sort of alternative or clarity, because I know it's hard out there. I know it's confusing. I know it's very easy to get bitter when you feel like you are backed up into a corner. And so I want to share something with you that was just so wonderful to hear as a woman. It was something that Alex loved hearing. And this is something that Father Mike Schmidt says. And for the last 2 years,
Oh God, Father Mike Schmidt, please, God. I don't know how Catholics feel about him, but he just gives me weird vibes. He gives me like Jesus influencer vibes. And I've heard a couple of his videos that were just so simpy. It was just the same old he deserves you. I'm like, do you deserve him? Really?
I've gone back to this one homily from Father Mike because I really think that it hits the nail on the head when it comes to masculinity. So
I pray to God, please, Father Mike, please give me something.
This is from his Father's Day homily back in 2023. And basically in this homily, Father Mike lays out the problem that our culture basically just gives men two options. The option of being that chill feminist bro who is just meek and mild and weak and a slacker. Or the other option is someone who is...
What does that even mean? Like, you realize over 90% of men are employed. And their jobs are harder than our jobs, for sure. Like, it's not even an if, and, or but.
A brute and uses his strength tyrannically, which he says is akin to this whole red pill ideology. That would be the top.
Of course, I knew he was going to do that. But again, remember, women just have too much money. That's why they always give in. We make 80% of the buying decision. No one gets paid if it's not for women's money.
Toxically masculine side of things. So just take a listen to what he says here.
Our culture offers young boys two alternatives, two visions of what it is to be a man. One is, he called him the slacker dude. The slacker dude is what you might call like the weakling. He's the passive person. He's not just kind of a nice guy.
But why do men slack? Why would they do that? Because they're put in school from a young age that doesn't reward them for working hard. It's like when women have to work half as hard and are still getting all the valedictorian spots. Maybe it's not the men, maybe it's the system that they're in. And two, why is this idea that men are the slackers when women are way more unemployed than men? And no, they're not having kids. The birth rate's falling. So, if anything, why are we calling the men the slackers? It's the women that are slacking.
Person who, not only, couldn't hurt a fly or wouldn't hurt a fly, but he couldn't hurt a fly. The opposite vision that our world offers is what Dr. Leonard Sachs calls the brute or the bully. We would say that's the toxic masculine man, right? The person who just the tyrant, basically. And so these are the two images that our world gives young men. It says either you can be the weakling or the tyrant. You can either be the slacker dude or you can be the brute the bully.
And from there, he says, you might think that Jesus would want you to be the meek and gentle man rather than being the tyrannical brute, but really, it's neither of these options, because what culture is presenting you with, neither of them are good.
It's just so much words and saying nothing.
Good. What God wants you to be, how you are designed to be, is a man who is strong enough to care and serve others. But that first...
Okay, see, the masculinity that benefits women. Who does serving others benefit? When really, femininity at its core is women serving men. So it's women being helpful to men. It's not men being helpful to women. But women, again, they want an inverted version of traditional relationships, which is fine if that's what you want. I mean, I'm not here to police your life, but I don't like being sold on one thing when it's another.
Requires taking responsibility and ownership over your life. It's taking responsibility for who you are as a man. This is what he says.
I now, a marker of adulthood, is I'm now willing to take responsibility for myself. And how do I say it like this? I'm willing to develop my strength. I'm willing to develop my own competence.
Okay, fine, men being competent.
I'm taking responsibility for
But
developing.
again, who does men being competent benefit? Whenever the woman does not have a benefit from it, it's shamed when it comes to traditional masculinity. Him banging a bunch of women, that does not benefit the women. Him being competent, that benefits the woman. It benefits him too, right? You could say, but you'll notice that's the shaming language that churches do. But they never tell women to not do the things that benefit them. Like women, holding out on marriage benefits women. Moving from your high school and not marrying your high school sweetheart and finding a higher earning or a more established guy in the city or at work or whatever, that benefits women. However, which one is shamed? I never hear conservatives shame women for not marrying young and having children young. I never hear it. It's not normally, right? But I do hear them shame men for doing the Andrew Tate model.
Developing my own competence. I'm taking responsibility for developing my own strength. I'm becoming a man. But there's another level.
And whenever it's becoming a man is always the things that benefit women.
There's another.
That's why they don't like men on social media. They'll shame that too. And it's because that gives them access to more punani when they're front facing. We just love men with microphones. We love it. See all these Nick F edits lately. These women like we love. I mean, Destiny was banging half of conservative media. I mean, that shows you how powerful a microphone is to men.
Level of adulthood, another level that's just incredible. It takes responsibility for others. And that's the difference between becoming a man, I take responsibility for myself, and becoming a father. Becoming
there you go, the father that benefits women.
A shepherd. I'm willing to take responsibility for someone else.
Yeah, right. But what is responsibility without authority? Men have no problem taking up responsibility. They don't. But you are saying you shame men for not taking responsibility when society does not give them authority. And conservative and leftist men, they shame men for not wanting to take a bad deal. When you are responsible for someone, but you have no authority or enforcement to tell them no, you're basically enslaved to that person.
And from there, he says, you can then serve and take care of others, which we see in pack animals all the time. And I love that this was the analogy that he used. Take a listen.
In subsequent studies, subsequent research have actually studied primates and wolves and other animals in the wild. And the alpha of the pack, the alpha of the group of primates, of gorillas, or of any other kind of, they weren't the ones who just dominated. They weren't the ones who just took whatever they wanted. It was almost the opposite. The alpha male of the group was the one who took care of the others. The alpha male actually in the wild.
Yeah, and that they try to reframe it, right? The thing is, people always want you in their group. And the reason they want to do that is because then they can categorize you. So if you're categorized in that group, then they can, take it down. Or the other reason is they have more control than if you think for yourself. And that's part of actually what Red Pill teaches, is it teaches men how to think for themselves. And it has like mental models that are really actually really helpful. We could go over those a different day, but
The alpha male was the one who served, the one who made sure everyone had food, the one who made sure everyone had protection, the one who made sure everyone had shelter. In fact, I remember a psychologist describing this and saying,
giving men very mixed signals. So if you want to listen to the entire thing, we'll have it linked below.
all right, I'm done with this. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. I demand a super chat right now. I demand it for being tortured with that. I demand it. I don't know who, but somebody is going to send me $5. I demand it. This is a demand. This is a demand. And we're going to be here all day. The red pill is just the truth. I don't really like to put it that way, because I would say I liked Rollo's definition, where it's the study of human behavior. Because when you say the truth, the problem is then religious people, they tend to hijack it, and they all have their own version, which I understand. I've interviewed really deeply religious people, but it's very difficult to have a conversation about the study of human behavior. When you add in the truth, it just always goes down like a rabbit hole. I have no problem with people trying to go down it, but we just want to stick to what is and not debate like religion, but it always just goes down. Thank you, $10 super chat. Thank you. That's what I need. I'm just saying, like, pay a bitch, for making it through that. That was so long. Simps coming to Pearl's emotional rescue, if that's what you want to call it, but I deserved it today. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Saturday. Sunday, we're not doing a show. And I'm actually going to go through and react to some of the debate I did yesterday. I know some of you felt like I should have did it a different way. To those of you, I say, why don't you do it? Why don't you get online? Why don't you get online? You can fix your audio issue. Why don't you do it? You can go ahead. But I actually want to talk about some of the tactics that she was using, that modern women have a tendency to use in order to make you want to go crazy. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. $50. William, you shouldn't have. On top of that, what? You guys are too nice. $20. I got you long legs. Thank you. You guys are too nice. So Pearl fell short again. Yeah, because I'm human, all right? It's like, what? In the most respectful way. But sometimes I'm like, guys, you don't have to be, I'm not putting a gun to your head. And it's not that I can't take criticism, I can, but sometimes it's just like, at some point, you might just got to watch a different show if I'm not, what you're looking for. You did earn it today. Well, I do try to represent you guys. So thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe. Thank you for the super chats. I'll see you.